Completing geometric sequences. This is filling in the gaps, just like we've been doing with the arithmetic. We're filling in the gaps. I'm filling in the gaps. Let's say I give you a problem that looks like this. 6, space, 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 486. And I tell you it's geometric. So it's given that it's geometric. Which means that we're using some multiplying. We're multiplying 6 times some number, and then that number times the same number, and then that number times the same number, right? I'm finding some multiplier, some what's going on. But this is a little different than the addition. It's not quite so formula-y. I actually like it better. It's a little less like magic, but it's probably a little tougher. So underneath, I'm going to write a number. I'm going to say, okay, to get to this spot, I know that I have to multiply 6 times some number. Okay? I don't know what the number is yet, but I know that I have to multiply 6 times that number to get there. Now, how do I get over to the next spot? I've got to multiply that same number again. So that's going to be 6 times x times x, right? Or better yet, how about we write that as 6x squared? Okay? Now I don't know what 6x squared equals because that's a big blank. I don't know. So I keep going. I keep going with this. I'm going to multiply again times another x. So that's going to be 6x to the third power. Okay? And I keep going until I know what an answer is. This one is 6x to the fourth power, and that equals 486. Okay? Now, that will set up for me an easy equation to solve, or a fairly easy equation to solve. So this is going to turn into 6x to the fourth power equals 486. Right? 6 times some number 4 times gives me 486. Now, don't focus on the exponent. You may not have solved a problem like this yet, and that's okay. But pretend the exponent wasn't there. How would I get rid of that 6? What's it doing there that I can get rid of? Yeah? Divide by 6. Yeah, let's start with that. Start with the easy stuff. Let's divide by 6. So if I take that 6x, I'm sorry, not 6x, I take that 486, and I divide it by 6. My trusting, cheating calculator, it's only cheating because I'm not doing it in my head or on paper, tells me that that's x to the fourth equals 81. Okay? Now, what that means is x times x times x times x 4 times equals 81. And I've got to think about what a number is. I want you, as the student, you may use a calculator, but before you hit enter when you're doing something like this, I want you to take a guess. Got a guess?
X equals 3.
You think it's 3? Okay. It might be. I think what I like about your guess, whether it's a guess or not, I don't know. What I like about your guess is it's odd. The only way I can get a number to be odd with multiplication is if I'm multiplying odd digits. And what I mean by odd is 1, 3, 5, 7, right? The odds. So it's got to be, it can't be 1. It's got to be 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, one of those kinds of numbers. Okay? So let's check it and see. So how do I solve a problem like this? What's the opposite of the fourth power? Anybody know? Or what's the opposite of a square? A square root. Good. Yeah. So in this case, the opposite of a fourth is a fourth root. So we're going to take the fourth root of both of these guys. Okay? Now, when we do opposites, they cancel. So my fourth root and the fourth power here, they cancel. And now I need to take the fourth root of 81. There's a few ways you can do it without a calculator, but it's handier with a calculator. In this calculator, I have a little key over here on the left side called Math, and I'm going to go press the Math key. And it comes up with some choices here right underneath it. I want number 5. This is x root. It's the xth root. Because square root won't work, I got to use the xth root. So I'm going to put the 4 in up top, and I'm going to put the 81 in on the bottom. And we have a prediction that it's 3. I think that prediction's correct. It is. Good job. How'd you do that? You knew, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew. Good job. Now, the problem is sometimes when we're doing stuff like that, we go, oh, good, I got the answer. But no, you really don't. Now you have to take the answer and go back and fill in the spaces. So this is the what's going on. So x is 3, so 6 times 3 is 18. That's all right. Keep trying. Keep trying. 18 times 3. What's 20 times 3? 60. 18 is 2 less, so what's 2 times 3? Yeah, it's 54. I was going to have you try to take away 6. 54. 162 it is. 50 times 3 is 150, and 4 times 3 is 12. So, and then if I multiply that times 3, do I still get the 486? Yeah, we do. So there's our pattern. This is the what's going on. Let's try a couple more. Ooh, I like this one. This is, let's keep it a little simpler. 3 blank blank 375. So given that it's geometric, this number must be 3 times some number we don't know. How about a letter that we don't, for a number that we don't know? You got your choice, A through Z, and you've even seen me use boxes and all sorts of things. How about a variable? And that being X. How original. Awesome. I love X. 3 times X, right? I've got to multiply another x here to get to the next stop, so that, or the next spot. That's 3x squared, but I don't know what that is. So I keep going until I know something that I can set equal to one another. So in this one, we're going to say 3x to the third power equals 375. I figured. Okay. So what's the first thing I want to do to solve this equation? Divide, right. Yeah, thank you. Divide. I'm going to divide by 3. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that should be 125. Yes? Here's where I want you to take the guess. The guess is what will help you with number sense and things like that. And if you're wrong, that's okay. If you're guessing for yourself, you're guessing in your head, and nobody's going to come along and beat you with a baseball bat if you guessed wrong. Okay? But is 125 even or odd? Odd. So my guess probably should be odd. Anybody have one? Want to share? It's bigger than 3. It's less than 37. Okay, how's that? Does that narrow it down for you? 5? 5? Okay, let's guess 5. I think you're right. But we need to take the third root of both sides of this to see if our guess is right. So here, the root and the square, or the cube in this case, cancel, and I get x. And the cube root of 125. I'm going to go back to that math key. And I can choose, there is actually a cube root here. I can choose that one, or I can put the 3 in myself. It doesn't matter. I'll choose the cube root here. I'm looking for 125. There it is. So there's the what's going on. Now I just have to go back and fill in the space. 3 times 5? 15. 15, good. 15. 15 times 5? 75. And is 75 times 5 375? Yes, it is. It is. You can double check that with the calculator or some other math. All right, one more. And then we'll get you going on the ready, set, go, or on the task. 256, space, 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 space. Let's see, 5 spaces and then a 4. A lot of spaces. It's a lot of exponents. So I'm shrinking this time. Can anybody predict sort of just a rough guess as to what might be happening here? Yeah.
Is it like multiplying by a fraction?
I think so. Because the only way we can get numbers to shrink when we're multiplying is to multiply by a number that's less than 1 but greater than 0. So yeah, I think, and that would define fractions, would it not? Less than 1, greater than 0. So I'm multiplying by some number. This is going to be 256 times x to get to the next space. 256 times x squared to get the space after that, because I keep multiplying this same value. 256 x to the third, 256 x to the fourth, 256 x to the fifth, and finally 256 x to the sixth equals 4. Yes, sir?
What is 0.01565 as a fraction?
0.01265?
No, 0.01565.
I don't know. Well, maybe the calculator can tell you. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so 256, x to the sixth equals 4, and you do want to divide by that 256. It's going to give us a very small number. Okay, so yeah, 4 divided by 256. That's the number you got? Okay. Let's see if I can change that to a fraction. How about 1/64th? Calculator did that for me. It's not my favorite calculator for doing that. There are some that are quicker and easier. You don't have to go so much into the more formula or the thing. But if I went into math, what I did is I went into math, went over to fraction, and this number 3, this is saying fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction. It's whatever it's got. It'll change it back to a decimal if I do it again. Right? So 1/64th is the answer to your question, but so x to the sixth equals, it's easier to write it as 1/64th. Now if I take the what root of this? Not square, the sixth root, yeah. The sixth root. Here this is going to cancel, and I get x equals, and I've got this in the calculator. It doesn't really matter if it's a decimal or a fraction. I'm just going to take and go math. I want the sixth root of the answer. I'm going to put the answer in, but I'm not going to type it in. I'm just going to go second, and the negative at the bottom puts the answer in, whatever the previous number is. 0.5. What's that as a fraction? 1/2. So we're halving. So what's half of 256? 128 it is, yeah. Half of 128? 64. I got the human computer right here. He's good with his numbers. Half of 64? Somebody else. 32, right. Half of 32? Half of 16? Half of 8? 4, yeah. Now you could get these by guessing and checking, but I don't want that. There's much better ways. So this is the method that I want you to use. Let's go ahead and look at our task today. Oh, where did my handout go? There it is. Okay. It's asking us to do exactly what we just took notes about. So I've got to multiply 3 times some number to get here, but I don't know what that number is, so I'm going to write 3x underneath. And then I've got to multiply that same unknown number to get to the next step. So this is going to be 3x squared. This one should be fairly simple and straightforward. But now I know what 3x squared is supposed to equal. It equals 12. So 3x squared equals 12. Divide by 3. This one you may be able to do in your head. X squared equals 12 divided by 3 is 4. What number times itself gives you 4? It's not 4 or 1, it's 2. It's 2. 2 times 2 equals 4. So you can take the square root. Whenever we write a square root, what's really here is a 2, but we don't have to write that. So x equals 2. So we're doubling. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12, and it works out. Okay. I'm gonna walk around and let you guys give those a try. I'll take roll real quick too.